of which this chip will represent at some point in the future. And look, I was just thinking as you were talking, if you think about it, Brody, since all this is going on, have you heard any pastors out there come to the defense of President Trump? I have not heard one. I don't know if, do you know anybody?
Hardly any of them, because the fact of the matter is, you got people out there like the big mega pastors who are out there saying, calling him President-elect Biden.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Where's this spiritual advisory board? Where are all these people? Why aren't they out there on national television? Why aren't they out there on mainstream media saying, no, the president has won this. We're standing behind our president. Why aren't they doing that, Chris? Because they're under a curse. Because they're under that 501c3, brother.
Yeah.
It's Baal's Baal. Look, when you take a bribe, the Bible says it blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous, right? So when it's doing this, you have a veil over your eyes. You ever notice that some of the most blind people that can't see anything, especially right now, what's happening, what God's doing on the earth, are the ones, and I'm not slamming all of them, are the ones with the educations, are the ones with the PhDs. They're the ones out here that can't see what God is doing. And it's the everyday, normal, common person, like Jesus picked his disciples, are the ones that God is using right now with discernment. And he's moving this spiritual battle and taking it to the enemy and cutting the enemy's head off. This is what's happening right now.
That's right. Well, Mark, let me tell you something. That's how it's always been. Jesus has never picked those that the world applauds. And the people that the world applauds is usually detestable in God's sight, and vice versa. The ones that the world detests are the ones that God uses. You think about those fishermen. You think about Peter. You think about his brother John. You think about all of them, James, all of them. Simon, all of the fishermen, and look, you had a tax collector in that group, the most detestable occupation in Israel of all things. Why would Jesus go to a tax collector? He was the IRS of that day, and he said, "I want you to come follow me, Matthew." And Matthew did, and wrote the first gospel. That one of the four gospels has his name on it, and but it's how it's always been, Mark. And I look at this remnant the same way tonight. Look, there's going to be a lot of people that we'll never see. They're never going to be on the front lines as far as the world goes. They're not going to be in the headlines. They're not going to be out there getting a lot of accolades. They're not going to be applauded. It's always been that way with God. He's always worked behind the scenes with people, very humble people that are just willing to let him use them for his kingdom. He empowers them, and he gives them something called courage, because you ask the question, why don't these pastors speak out? I tell you why. They've got nothing but cowardice in their bones. They're nothing but cowards, Mark. They're spiritual cowards.
Yep.
Spiritual cowards. I would use another word tonight, and I'm tempted to use it. But we were talking about this a little bit too. And you see what's happening is this exploitation. You know, we were talking a little bit tonight before the show about the businesses and how that customer service and how most businesses in America have thrown the idea that their customers are important right out the door. I would argue, Mark, that the church has done the same thing. We're not customers. We're not customers. We're parishioners, and we're part of this body, that they don't care about the people any longer. They've lost that care a long time ago.
Listen, you are a commodity. You're a product of for the church. You are a moneymaker for the church. That's why they don't want to offend people. That's why they don't want to go on Fox News and make people angry, because it affects right here. It affects their tithes, their offerings. They don't want to offend people. They don't want them to leave the church. So they're going to have to wake up on their own. Again, we've been trying to rescue people out of the system, explain to them what the system is about. This is why they have a veil over their eyes right now. It's blinded the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous. Look, it's that prophecy that God gave me that I released on this show about 3 weeks ago, where it's Jeremiah 23, both prophet and priest are defiled. Chris, under the 501c3. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. You can get mad at me all you want to. You shoot the messenger all you want to. I'm just telling you, God is the one you have the problem with, not Mark Taylor, period. The reason I can prophesy some of this stuff, Chris, is because I'm not in the system. The reason they can't is because they're blinded by the system. They can't look, you can't cast out Satan with Satan, Jesus said.
You can't.
When you're in covenant with Baal, who's second in command under Satan, how can you take on that entity when you're in covenant with him? You can't.
Well, Mark, let me tell you something tonight, and this is a serious matter. Baal is salivating tonight. The spirit of Baal is salivating at the thought, and we don't believe it's going to happen, but it's salivating at the thought of a Joe Biden presidency. You know why? Because it knows that Joe Biden is going to pull back the restraint on the abortion and the baby killing
Right.
and the pedophilia and the trafficking. Him and Kamala Harris have basically promised and hadn't even blinked an eye. Ain't even ashamed about telling you all out there tonight. We're going to remove all of the restraints that President Trump has put on worldwide abortion. We're going to start funding overseas abortion again.
Yep.
We're going to start funding abortion here in America. You can kiss Roe v. Wade. I mean, no matter what, they're going to fight with tooth and toenail to make sure Roe v. Wade is taken down. And Mark, I just sense this, that if Biden gets in, all these rhinos, all these Republicans are going to throw their lot in with him and act like that it's a kumbaya moment for the country. They're going to sell this nation down. But that bail system that you're talking about has blood on it. It has the blood of babies on it, my friend.
That's
and
how it
it's
operates.
Salivating tonight at that thought. It's salivating at that thought. And these pastors that are embracing it should take a hard, long look in their soul about that tonight. Even though they won't do it, but they should.
Listen, I'm going to say something controversial. I really don't care. If you're a pastor out there and you're a 501c3, come out of it now. This is your last shot. If you're a prophet, I don't care if you call yourself a prophet. I don't care who you are. If you're a 501c3, you better come out of it now. This is the last chance, Chris. That prophecy that God gave me, he's talking about, this is it. And so, look, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you agree with it. If you're worried about your finances, you're worried about the system giving you the finances, not God at that point.
No,
That's the problem. That's what they've all been taught right there.
Yep. Well, there's a lot at stake in this country, Mark, without a doubt. Buddy, what else you got for us tonight? I know you got some other things you want to share, and go ahead, and I'll release you to do that. I really, what I had tonight, it was along your lines. I just want to thank Mary and Joe Flynn for coming on the show Saturday night. They were very powerful in what they were saying. I want to ask you about General Flynn and what Joe said. Basically, he said that General Flynn's expertise was not really elections, but he said he's helping Sidney Powell, Mark, as helping her fight an insurgency, and like he would help somebody fight a coup. And
right.
Look, we've talked about this. I personally believe, and I've had intel guests and federal agents on my show and ex-CIA people on my show and people that have been in Washington in the highest levels. And I'm telling you, every one of them to a person has said it. They haven't blinked. They said this is sedition and treason, what's being carried out against this country. And it's a death penalty crime. And what they're saying, what I totally believe too, is a lot of these low-level hanging fruit people are not going to want to go to federal prison and wind up possibly facing a death penalty to save the hide of those above them. And that's
firing squad, which I believe was just approved, was it not?
Yeah, it was just approved. Exactly. I saw somebody sent
squad.
that to me today, and they said that they had been approved. I saw that. That's incredible stuff.
That's right.
And you don't think that's not by coincidence?
You don't think that's coincidence?
It's not. No. It's not.
No, absolutely not. So, I mean, look, there are, one of the things that I think the general had said, he was talking about the media, okay, and how the censorship, and how this was a psychological war, basically, that they were waging. And I can't do it justice the way the general does because this is his expertise. And so, but the way he explained it really hit me even harder than what I usually understand it. And the brainwashing that's taking effect right now. This is why we've been on this show screaming for how long now? Stay off the mainstream media. Only listen to the president and, of course, General Flynn and these guys, people that you trust to get your information from right now, because they're brainwashing you. I talked to someone today, like I talked about earlier. They just thought, well, I hope the president can win this thing, but I just don't know. It's like, no, he has already won it. That's the brainwashing. That's the psychological warfare. And then General went into the 6 points. Excuse me, the 6 points that or 6 levels or whatever you call it that China does in their warfare. And so, I mean, you just have to go listen to the interview.
Yeah.
But these are the things that we're dealing with right now, and it's an information warfare, a cyber warfare, like General McEnroe was talking about, a level we've never seen before. And so this is what we're up against. This is not like what we had back in the 40s, you know what I mean, in World War II, or even, Korea or Vietnam. It would take 2 weeks to get information back from overseas to the newspapers. Now, It's in an instant right here. At the click of a button, we have it instantly. You know what I mean? So, I mean, just be careful who you follow. Be careful who you listen to. And proof of this right here, Gateway Pundit released this. Arizona voter fraud witness. Well, no, this is all different, something different here. Arizona voter fraud witness Army Colonel Phil Walter confirms experts saw Dominion communicating with Frankfurt on election day. Now, if you know, this is just just keeps going. You know what I mean? What else we got down here? We had a Republican win in California.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good news.
Let me ask you this: before you go any further with that, that's the other thing that people don't need to let